It was amazing that he built this institution called the Mir Yeshiva that has thousands and thousands of students every year. It's 5, 6, 7,000, what it is, maybe more. That he almost built single-handedly this huge institution, despite that very infirm condition. Anyway, somehow, I don't know exactly how this happened. They landed an opportunity to meet Mr. Finkel, and he looked at them and he asked them, "What's the lesson of the Holocaust?" And as Howard Schultz writes now, I was kind of embarrassed to look at him because I felt like it would be awkward. He's in Parkinson. I kind of looked away, and he kept saying, "Look me in the eye and give me the answer." So one guy said, "Well, never to forget." He says, "No, that's not the answer." So he asked another guy. He said, Howard says, we felt like fifth graders, like we're getting called on by the teacher. We didn't want to get, we didn't look him in the face. We didn't want to get called on. And somebody said, "That will never let it happen to us again." No, that's the right answer. So he said, "Tell me." And at that point, they decided to give up because they didn't want to, So he said, "You know that when the Jews were in the camps and they had to sleep in these horrific conditions, the barracks, and they shared a bed with 5, 6 people sometimes, and they were given one blanket for 6 people. The person given the blanket had a decision to make. Am I keeping it for myself, or am I sharing with others?" He said, that defining moment of being able to share with others, that's the lesson of the Holocaust. And he said to these businessmen, he said, "When you go back to America, take your blanket with you and make sure you share with 5 others too." That was his message. So the bread of affliction can be a bread of freedom. If we understand that they can't break our spirit. The other story I like to tell is a story I heard myself from the Parashar Rebbe, actually his wife, his Rebbitzin. I had the privilege of eating with the Seder with them, and there's a book, I think, mentioned called Hasidic Tales of the Holocaust, written by Yafa Eliach, who was a professor in Brooklyn College, and my cousin was a student in her class, and at the time, as a professor, she required everybody to do an interview with the Holocaust survivor, which today may sound like a difficult thing to do, to ask everybody in class. By the way, I grew up thinking that everybody's parents were Holocaust survivors because every one of my classmates was a child of a Holocaust survivor. Oh, so when I came to Silver Spring, I realized that's not was the paradigm. Literally, when I grew up in Brooklyn, every one of my peers' parents were Holocaust survivors, and that's what it was. So when she asked everybody to interview a Holocaust survivor, it wasn't you had to go searching high and low; they were all there. And so my cousin interviewed the Bluesville Rebbe, and surprised, he thought he'd get maybe one story out of him. He spoke for 4 hours on a tape, he and his wife. And I heard many of those stories myself at the Seder, because he always said that he could not speak about the horrors of the Holocaust, it was too painful. But he felt a responsibility and an obligation to speak about the Holocaust on the night of Pesach and to teach that to his children. So we were at the Seder, we heard these stories. So one of the stories was his wife told over, her name was Bronya, and that was that a number of people had approached the Blues Rebbe in the camps in Bergen-Belsen, and told him that they wanted him to lead a Seder for them in the camps. And he said to them, "You guys are crazy. First of all, there's no matzah. Second of all, there's no Seder. Third of all, we're going to get killed if we get caught." And they kept pleading. They said, "We'll get you a matzah, and you must lead a Seder." And they wouldn't take no for an answer, and he realized that he shouldn't say no at that point. Anyway, they actually baked the matzah. What they did was they stole flour from the kitchen over the period of a month or so, whatever the case is. And actually, this part is not in the book, but then I saw this in another book, and I recall now, this is true, they actually got caught. And the Nazi broke the oven, smashed the matzah, but they did it again. That part is just a side point. But anyway, they baked a single matzah, and they rendezvoused at wee hours in the morning, one of the barracks. And the Blues led the Seder. And it got to the point where it was time to eat the matzah. And I don't recall if it happened then or earlier on. This woman named Bronya, who was not his wife at the time, they actually both lost their spouses and they married each other later on when they came to America. But she said, "Blues Rebbe, I have to tell you something. That I think this year, I can't tell you what to do, but I think it makes much more sense that we need to share this matzah with the children. Even if they're under bar mitzvah, they should get first dibs on the matzah. Typically speaking, you give it to the adults, the ones who have the mitzvah." And she said, because they have to know that we're going to outlive the Nazis, just like we've outlived every other atrocity. They have to know there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And the matzah represents the hope and the future. And they have to know that they are a future, and they will be a future. They have to know that. And he looked at her, and he said, "You're absolutely right." And that year, Seder, matzah went first to the children. Now, just to have that conversation in the hell of Bergen-Belsen tells you that she was still a free person, that she had her freedom, and they couldn't break her spirit. And that's the whole lachma anya, that even as we eat the bread of affliction, they can't break our spirits if we don't want to break our spirits. And that's the sharing that she did. Just like Howard Schultz was told to share his blanket, she wanted to share the mitzvah with the children and the next generation. And that's the power of the Jewish people. And she lived to tell the tale. But that's really the idea that we celebrate on Pesach, is that come together as a people, that we celebrate this entity called Klal Yisrael that was born and created, if you will, on Pesach. I'll just end with the thought, and that is that we know that on Pesach we go a little crazy with hummus. We go maybe a little too far, actually, I think sometimes. But we are extremely strict, and that's part of what Pesach is supposed to be. We're stricter with the rules and much more careful than the rest of the year. And the question is why. So based on what we talked about, I'd like to share with you, I think, an interesting insight. And that is that Belzerov was attending a bar mitzvah, and I don't think it was his own sons, I could be wrong. He was attending a bar mitzvah. And at the end of the Suda, at the end of the meal, the bar mitzvah boys asked the bench, kind of as a way of showing that you've now arrived, you're a man, you could lead the benching. And he led the benching, and then afterwards, typically speaking, by a Suda's mitzvah, there's wine you drink after the end of the meal. So, he drank the wine. He drank most of the cup, whatever. And the Belzer Rav said, you should drink the whole cup. Finish the whole thing. So I forgot somebody there, it was a famous Rav said, why? You can fulfill the mitzvah by drinking most of the cup. Why insist you drink the whole thing? He said, that's true. But he's just starting out now as a bar mitzvah. This is his new chapter in life. When you start something new, you want to do it right. Right? Don't do it half-baked, so to speak. And if the full way to do it is drink the whole cup, let him know that's the thing. There was a similar story, actually, fascinating. There was a great Rav named the Marcheshes. And he was assigned at one point to become the Rav Yerushalayim, take over, I forget who was to take over from. And typically speaking, in order to demonstrate to the people of Yerushalayim who the new Rav is, the Rav used to be Masad Kedushin. He was the one that married people off. So he told him when he arrived that day, guess what, there's a wedding tonight. We want you to be Masad Kedushin. This way, you'll announce to the basis of the world in Central Yerushalayim that you are the new Rav. He said, I tell you, I'm exhausted. I just traveled 3 days to get to Eretz Yisrael. I'm wiped. It's okay. Wait another day. We can announce my. And they were so excited and so much. They insisted. He said, "Okay, fine." He got to the chasana under the chuppah as he's making the brachas. Instead of saying "Borei Priya Gafen" on the wine, he said "Shahakol Ni B'Dvaro." Shahakol. He stopped for a moment, and then he made a Borei Priya Gafen, and he gave him a drink. After the chuppah, people asked him, said, "Why'd you do that?" Because we know that even though the proper purpose is Borei Priya Gafen, that a Shahakol in Phoebe covers everything. So you made an extra blessing that you didn't have to make. So he said, I thought about that obviously for a moment. And it was amazing what goes to a person's brilliant man. He said, listen, I thought to myself, as a Masada Kedushin, I'm acting as their agent. I'm acting on their behalf. Well, I know for sure that they would want that when they start their marriage to start it off right. Not with a kind of okay, you got by b'diavad. So I knew I was not acting on their behalf if I didn't do it right. So I felt I had the right and the responsibility to make the other blessing because I really wasn't acting as their agent the first time around because that's not what they wanted. So again, that same lesson that when you're starting something, you want to start big, strong, and 100% right. Well, we're starting on Pesach. Pesach was starting, again, it was celebrating the creation of the Jewish people. So that's why we want to get it right. And therefore we're extra careful and we don't cut corners in any which way, which might be tempted the rest of the year. But in Pesach, because it's this sense of a fresh start, as a people, we want to be careful and get it right. That's part of the reason, on a deeper level, why we do that. And lastly, Pesach, we stay up all night, or not all night, for a good part of the night. People struggle with that. Truth is, it's considered to be a very holy night. And the more that you're able to imbibe by saying the words of the Seder, the more you bring holiness into yourself. The story I once heard was that Napoleon, after he conquered the world, was celebrating. And after a few days, he was getting very, very sick. And the reason was because he refused to go to sleep. So they kept pleading with him. You can't function on almost no sleep. An hour sleep here, an hour sleep. You got to get more sleep. And he wouldn't listen. So finally, they pulled out the big weapon. They called his mother. And they told his mother, you better tell your son, he needs some sleep. So she said, you gotta get some sleep. He said, Ma, you don't understand. Right now I'm emperor. Right now I'm king. When I sleep, I'm not king. Right? I want the experience of feeling like an emperor. On the night of Pesach, we're royalty. Hashem declared us to be a royal nation. When we sleep, we're not royalty. Staying up the night of Pesach, we're able to feel that sense of royalty. And that's what we're supposed to feel on Pesach, that sense of royalty. So we should all have a chakosha b'sameach and be continued.
And just an interesting side note here, I think it's appropriate to what we're talking about. They did a study of children, young children, they, the ages of between, I'd say, 8 and 15, and they looked at all the characteristics of what gave them self-esteem. Was it parents, was it education, was it money, was it culture, whatever. And you know what was number one? The sense of identity of where they came from.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so important to the mental and emotional health
Yes.
of people. It's perfect. It fits in perfectly with
100%.
Pesach.
Instead of a day, 100%. Very good point. 100%. Thank you very much. That's a good point.
Thank you.
Thank you.